the biggest thing that you want to do when you're just starting from the start, like I haven't played basketball in a long time. I've been on the road. I'm working. If you're Joe Blow at home and you're working all day, you want to get back into the game, start off by form shooting. Get in the gym, cut some soothing music on, and just form shoot. Get one of your homies or one of your girls to pass you the ball. Or if you're a girl, get a girl, get somebody to pass you the ball, and just relax your mind. And then from there, you take another step back. You start relaxing, you're shooting the ball, you take that time, and then you'll look up in 3 weeks, you're at the free throw line. And then you get that touch back, and now you're shooting, and it's just like, it just helps with the feeling of the shot, if that makes sense.
All right, so this is actually a very exciting podcast for me today because my kid will enjoy it, and like he'll think I'm the coolest mom. So therefore, I'm excited. I have Chris Matthews, who's otherwise known, a.k.a. as the lethal shooter. He is the most sought after shooting coach probably in the world, right? And he, like, if you don't follow him or see his videos on shooting, you have to, because some of them are so incredible. I mean, it just is amazing. So thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm like, I told you, my kid now thinks I'm cool. So of course, right? I guess I think I want to start with something that's an obvious question, which is someone like you who's clearly an amazing shooter, right? Like, again, some of the videos that I've seen of you are so insane. Like that's when I was telling you before we started about the plane. You know, like you got off some plane and you shot. How far was that one shot from the plane?
In Austria?
Yeah.
It was pretty far.
Like,
it was a really tough shot, especially the one I shot from the ceiling. But it was crazy. That shot only took about 5. But it was extremely, extremely hard. Because if I miss, but people didn't know it, that's a carrier. So they had like luxury cars in there. There were other planes inside of there. So if I miss and hit one of the cars, it was just a lot of pressure.
Totally.
Yeah. It was a lot of pressure.
So, okay, so this is my question. If you're so amazing at shooting, why are you not playing in the NBA? And why are you only coaching these players? If you're obviously better than them, it would be, I would think, a no-brainer that you should be a Laker or a Bull or whoever.
Yeah. Well, you know, the one thing about life, you know, everybody doesn't make it. And I feel like with society today, everybody always feels a lot of pressure when they fail. You know, not making it to the NBA, I didn't feel like I failed because the way that my parents and my surroundings taught me to understand that I use basketball and basketball doesn't use me. And I use basketball to be the first person in my family to get a degree. I use basketball to be the first person in my family to own a home. And I'm doing great things. And that's just like an NBA player. I don't have the millions and tons of money, but the impact that I'm bringing onto the world is just like an NBA player. So like, I just try to use that as inspiration to others, because like there's so many great baseball players that people say, oh, how come you didn't make it pro at that level? Because everybody doesn't make it, you know, but are you going to stop believing in yourself? And that's what I try to do for myself. Like, you know, I'm a great shooter. I was a great shooter in college. I was a great shooter overseas, and I didn't make it to the NBA, but I'm still doing what I love, and that's giving back to others.
No, that's a great answer. But and we'll get into all of your background and the chronological, like, you know, your origin story and all this. But I mean, with all that being said, like tactically, like logically, you would think if someone is as good at the one thing that you're literally teaching the best of the best to be doing, what was the reason that, like, was it because other skills that you needed to kind of have the whole package, were they kind of less they weren't as superior, let's say?
I'll say I could have done, so my senior year in college, I was ranked number 5 in the nation in threes made and number 1 in the Atlantic 10, the conference I played in. I was number 1 in the conference. I don't think I did a good job of trying to pursue camps and stuff. Like, it was more like once I knew that I probably wasn't on the draft board or something like that, I just went straight to France. I think I could have done a better job of seeking it more from the start. I think I started seeking it way too late in my career, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so
it
like
does.
Later on in my career, I did play in the G League that a lot of people don't know, but I only stayed for like a month because I later on went to Mexico because I was, you know, chasing money at the time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I feel like how I am educated now as a trainer, coming out of college, I would have went to more camps to try to make it to the NBA. But right out of college, once I saw I wasn't being picked, I went to a EuroLeague camp. I got picked up that same week and went straight to France.
Okay, good. So now you can start explaining to me like the history of your basketball career. So when you like you're how tall are you?
I'm 6'4".
Okay, 6'4".
Yeah.
So when you were a kid, were you like give me what you did? Like were you you played basketball?
Yeah, so I played basketball. A lot of people don't know I actually bowled professionally as well. I played
Bowled?
baseball. Yeah, I'm a really, really good bowler.
Really?
I played baseball all the way to the 10th grade. I played football all the way up to the 10th grade. So my dad had me in 4 sports growing up. So that was a blessing. But I had to stick to one sport because every single sport I was using my right arm. So my right arm was getting bad tendonitis in my rotator cuff. So my dad told me pick one sport. We chose basketball, and it was no looking back. Middle school, I won championships. High school, I won championships. In college, I was lucky to play at Washington State for 2 years under Tony Bennett, where we went to the Sweet 16. Then I transferred to St. Bonaventure, where we turned the whole program around. And then a lot of people don't know I played pro for 7 years overseas. I played in France. I played in China. I played in Mexico. I lived in Iceland. I lived in Switzerland. I lived all over the world. And that was just, the ability to use basketball to see other things. And like you say, like to play in the NBA is always a dream come true, but to travel the world is unreal. It was a good time. I lived in some of the most amazing places ever. And that's just because I can shoot a basketball. So all those things led up to what I'm doing right now.
So you was that like your thing? You were always really good at shooting then?
Really, really good.
Always.
Yeah, like elementary school, I was really good. Middle school, that's when I peaked. At elementary school, that's when I was just like, I was really, really good. So, and it was a blessing because of the work that I used to put in as a kid. A lot of people say, oh, Lethal, you can make a half-court shot. You can make 8 out of 10, but they don't know. As a kid, I used to have to form shoot 500 shots a day and shoot every single day so I could have these type of moments on what I'm doing right now. And that's, it's the work that you put in that whatever you want to get out of something.
So that's what I want to talk to you about. So someone like you obviously had innate talent, but you still practiced like a shitload, right? Like It was like, is it because you saw that you were talented and other people already saw you had that gift that then you wanted to harness it? Because the reason why I'm asking and what I want to really get to is that, there's a couple different like theories, right? Like, is it talent? Is it work ethic? Is it, the truth is to be like a Kobe or anybody, Michael Jordan, like you need to have a combination of both, right? Like you need to have talent, but these are people who are so like just they live and breathe. They want to be so great that they put in the hours that nobody else would ever put in. Were you kind of, is that what happened with you? Like you already saw that you had this talent with shooting and then you just like double down, triple down?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's just born like a great shooter. Anybody's born a great baseball player or a great wrestler or a great football player. You have to work towards that. You can be big and strong and be a wrestler and not be good at your craft because you're not practicing. You can be a 6'10", 6'11" person, all due respect, working at CVS.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's the work that you have to put in. And yes, like I feel like I'm one of the best shooters in the world because of my ability to shoot constantly, and I'm very stern on myself. And that's how I broke the world record last year on ESPN, because I'm willing to do things that a lot of people don't understand what I'm willing to do when I want to reach a goal. You know what I mean? So like the other day I was just on live because I really show my training. So I was like, I'm going to show people on live sometimes what I do, because I try to bike like 5 times a week, but I try to do like 15 miles, a day. So
you're biking.
Biking.
So
15.
you bike also?
I do bike, but it's not like I'm not doing it as like a sport. I'm doing it because I like to burn.
Yeah.
So I went on live and my followers was like, I showed them the screen. They're like, holy, like Lethal's crazy. And it's like, yeah, like usually people who are very successful at anything, they're a little crazy towards that goal. And I'm willing to do whatever to accomplish my goals. And to what you said, I'm a great shooter because of all the work that I put in before and the work that I'm putting in now. So like if I go shoot for the NBA in front of 5,000 fans, people will see me shoot for like an hour. I probably only missed like 5 shots. And they're like, oh my God, Lethal Shooter shoots so good. But they don't know prior to that, I probably trained for 1 month to get ready for that moment.
Yeah,
if that makes
exactly.
sense. So it's just, people, it's just not something you're born with. It's something you have to work towards. And the one thing about the universe and God. You know, when he gives you a gift, if you work on it, it'll get better. But if you don't work on it, you'll just be started staying in that straight plane. Then you'll look up, then different people have caught up with you, and then they're better than you. And that happens a lot with pros. You'll see them, they get drafted first round, they're so good the first 2 years in the NBA, and then they could lose focus. And then you look up like, oh, what happened to this guy? What happened to that guy? Because they didn't keep the same work ethic.
Now, I could not agree with you more. So
Yeah.
then, when you were younger, what was your routine back then? Like to kind of, because even though you were good at it,
Yeah.
you weren't like where you are now, right? Because you took
Yeah.
all the hours. How many hours would you say you practiced a day?
It was pretty gruesome. You know, even as a kid, I would have to make 500 shots a day. But I think a lot of people, when I say that, they think it's jump shots. I had to shoot a lot of form shots. So my dad would make me make 250 form shots and then 250 jump shots every single day.
What's a form shot, by the
So
way?
a form shot is when you're like what you did outside, like you get close to the rim, which was a nice shot. You know what I mean? You get out close to the rim and you shoot, and shooting form shots is just like it's a golfer. You know, if me and you was to teach somebody how to play golf, we don't just take them straight to the PGA Tour where they're hitting it 500 yards. You want them to start close to just understand how to use it and stuff like that. And the same with any other sport. You want to start close, and then you start getting further and further away. And I would form shoot close to the rim, and then my dad will allow me to step further and further away. And that's why with my abilities, I can shoot so far right now because of just gruesome training, but in a loving way. It wasn't like gruesome training that I didn't want to be out there.
No. What I'm saying is
what I mean?
that's what you did. So you started close,
Yeah.
and then as you got you perfected that or got
Yes.
better and better, you kept on moving back and back.
Right.
And now, when you shoot, what's the furthest that you can shoot? And how long is like a professional basketball floor?
Yeah, 94 feet.
90. So how
Yeah.
far could you actually shoot from?
The other day I did a video on Instagram with Nate and a good friend of mine. And I did a video, I think I made like 8 out of 10 half-court shots. That only took me about 10 minutes. You know what I mean? But I was making them, but it wasn't the way that I wanted. So like...
Half court. I'm saying, how far can you actually shoot? Like 90, you can obviously shoot
with a
from
regular form?
With a regular form.
I'll say 2 steps across half court. I can shoot a regular form. Same as like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, you know what I mean? But that's not an ideal shot. But with a clean form, I can do 2 steps across half court. I can shoot with a clean form. Anything else, anybody, they're throwing the ball.
They're just throwing a ball.
Yeah, they're just throwing the ball.
So like, so you did 500, you said, a day, which took, how long would that be?
It's pretty fast. I can make 500 shots pretty easy. So I would say probably like an hour and a half, I can make 500 shots. But remember, you know, to somebody watching this that's younger or somebody trying to be a professional, that can really burn your arm a lot. So but I was going through that pain because I wanted to feel that pain. That's why I told you I bike, because it burns my legs. And then that type of stimulation kind of gets me going, because you know that's usually when somebody hits a wall, like, oh shit, my thighs are burning, let me stop. I'm more of, all right, it's burning, but let me try to go another 5 miles. That's how I do with my right arm, where it's like, okay, my arm is burning, but let me try to get up some more shots. So when I do shoot, it's just so easy.
Got it. So then, okay, so as a kid, you were doing 500. So you were doing about an hour and a half a day of that? Okay. And then what? Like, you were getting better and better.
Getting better and better, running hills, wearing a vest, running hills.
Like, just overall, you were getting conditioned.
Condition a lot, you know what I mean? Because if you want to be an elite in anything, remember, I'm playing baseball, football, basketball, and I'm bowling on Saturdays. So I had to just make sure I was always in shape. You get what I mean? So I did a lot of running. I did a lot of bike riding with my dad. You know what I mean? The bike that I ride now is actually stationary. But that's where I get the bike riding from, because in any sport, bike riding is good for your legs because it builds up the muscles around your thighs and your knees and all that type of stuff. So, and it's good for your calves. You know what I mean?
So you're saying, so mostly for athletes, basketball. Yeah. So you're saying biking is like the one thing that everyone's doing. Also, it's better on your joints and your knees.
It's amazing. You know what I mean? Biking. Another great workout is boxing. You know what I mean? I used to do that when I was younger with Mr. Tyson at our rec for free. They'll make the entire
Mr.
room.
Tyson being like Mike
No,
Tyson?
no,
Oh.
not Mike Tyson,
Okay,
but his
I'm like,
name was Mr. Tyson.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, but they would make the room really, really hot,
Mm-hmm.
and we would have to train in that gruesome heat. You know what I mean? But it was just it made us who we were, and made me who I am today. That type of training.
Okay, so we're gonna get into that. So then, basically, then you went the whole path. You were training really hard. You wanted to be like an NBA basketball
course.
player, of course. And so you said something earlier that was interesting. You said something that like you think at the end of the day, it was because you didn't put the time in to go to these camps.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of camps are people like? Are these the camps that Kobe would go to, or Stephen Curry? Like, what camps are we talking about?
Well, the good thing about Kobe and Stephen Curry, you know, the careers that they had, they didn't have to go to those camps because they're already on the radar. The mistake that I made, I was on the radar, but I wasn't on the radar where first or second round. The thing I should have done was, I would say, be a little bit more patient instead of going straight to overseas. I should have went to other exposure camps where the NBA hosts so they can see where somebody has those type of abilities. The same camps they have now and the same camps they had before, where you can go and play and do shooting drills and do defensive drills so they can see, like, hold up, who is this guy right here? Like, this guy, oh, he goes to St. Bonaventure.
Right.
He's blah, blah, blah. I didn't do that. Once I saw what was going on, I went straight to the EuroLeague camp. And like I said, a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I was in France.
Right. And then
Yeah.
so how long did you do all that for?
The EuroLeague camp,
Like all the camp, like when? Yeah.
I only went to one camp. Like soon as
Okay.
I saw I wasn't on the NBA radar, I was like, I'm going to Europe to get this bread.
And so the other alternative, so it sounds like you were super hungry.
Yeah, I'm
were
just
you,
starving. Yeah.
Why were you not starving and hungry then? Like, did you not want it bad enough to
Yeah.
be in the NBA as much as like other people wanted it then?
Yeah.
You wanted the quick money, you wanted this, you wanted that. Then how did you end up being this guy for the NBA? Like, what was your first job? How did you get that first job?
Yeah.
Who was your first big client?
Yeah, I'll say I was hungry, but I was more hungry to just probably not be living in DC. So that's why I think I wanted to just get in and get out, if that makes sense. I feel like if I had been pursuing the NBA, going to all these camps, which I did, I told you later in my career, I went to the Reno Bighorns camp. There's like 200 players in there. They're only going to pick one player, and I got picked. That's when I played in the league under the NBA. I got picked for that for the Reno Bighorns, and it
Okay.
was a blessing. It was 200 players that came to play, and I'm the one player that they took. But I wasn't patient again, because back then in the G League, the money wasn't like how it is now in the D League. You know what I mean? The money was just bad. You know what I mean? And in life,
D League, G League, what are you talking
it's the
about?
same thing. They just changed the name.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, that's the biggest thing that I teach people that I know in their careers as well. Don't do stuff for money. Do it because of your love. And I think early on in my career, even the middle, I was doing it the wrong way, if that makes sense. I was just trying to make a lot of money. And that's why with me now, I can do a lot of stuff and not make a lot of money because I truly love it, if that makes sense. And I feel like from the start, if I would have, you know, like you said, maybe went to more NBA camps and been a little bit patient, maybe I'd have been on the bench or something, or maybe I've been in this NBA summer league, because
Right.
with my shooting ability, the way I shoot now, teams are like, hey man, like, would you want to be in the summer league? Just to, you know, because
Yeah.
it's good publicity. You get what I'm saying?
100%.
So yeah, so it's just, those are good mistakes that we can tell people that's watching this, you know, don't be such in a rush in life. And I've made those mistakes multiple times growing up. I don't make those mistakes now because I'm older and wiser, but, you know, definitely be patient in those decisions. But yeah, I would say my first biggest client was Dwight Howard. So I was training. My back was against the wall, and one of my friends, his name's Kevin Seraphin, he was playing for the New York Knicks, and they wanted him to extend his jump shot. So I moved to Paris, and when I moved to Paris, Dwight Howard hit me up because he saw a video of me and Kevin Seraphin, and Kevin Seraphin's like just draining jump shot after jump shot, but he's not known to be a shooter. So when I went to move to Atlanta to be with Dwight, it was like the highest free throw percentage he shot that season. He's just doing amazing. And then from there, that's when other NBA teams started contracting me. And now today, it's a blessing. Like, you know, I'm helping the Celtics right now because they're have potential to go to the finals. I'm helping 2 clients on the Nuggets. I helped the Bucks this year. I helped the Orlando Magic. And it's just a blessing to be able to help people succeed in life, if that makes sense. And yeah, I'm not the one making 200 million, 300 million, but like I said before,
How much are you making?
I make a little bit of money that I can provide for myself, but it's not what these guys are making. Like one of my clients, which is a blessing. Like, Katavius Caldwell-Pope, he just signed for like 75 million. Bobby Portis signed for like 65 million. And it comes with the training. But the good thing about life with me is it's not me doing it because I want something out of them. It's me doing it because I want them to get something for themselves, because I know the mistakes that I made as a shooter, and I don't want them to make them mistakes. And I want them to get as much money as they can to provide for their families and have generational wealth.
Well, they are, I hope.
Yeah.
So, but then why is Drake and all these other people your clients? I mean, they're not basketball players.
Yeah.
Diplo, I saw a video, Diplo, Drake, and are they just because like you're so good, they just want, like how I said to you, do you want to train my little 10-year-old boy?
Yeah.
Like, I guess people ask you all the time, right?
Yeah, it's a blessing, you know what I mean, to have people of that stature to want me to train them, to have somebody like Flea and Machine Gun Kelly and all these different artists to reach out, because I'm a really good teacher. You know what I mean? I'm a really good shooter.
I got my basket.
Yeah, and that was only 3 shots. So
that's right.
So it's just like people don't see my real training, but like it's a reason why, Nike and Jordan Brand and NBA teams and WNBA teams. And a good example is 2 months ago, Indonesia flew me in to train their women's team because they're getting ready for the SEA Games. And 4 days ago, they won gold. You know what I mean? That's another prime example. I don't get a gold medal, but to see them win,
right,
it's a dream come true, because as I was training those girls, I saw their potential, and I was pushing them to a level that was very uncomfortable, the same way that I was trained, if that made sense.
Totally.
And that's why I do what I do, because I just want to see other people win. And just like last night, me and Michael Porter Jr., we were in the gym last night. He has a game today. We were in the gym last night till like 10:30, you know what I mean? Because he's just hungry to be great, you know what I mean? So it's a dream come true to help other people with the art of shooting.
Okay, so then when you, so let's go, so you get hired by teams.
Right.
You also get hired by individuals.
Right.
Right. So like Kevin Durant or whoever, who hired you? Kevin or Rich Kleiman or who hired
so if
you?
I was to train Antoine, either
Okay.
Antoine can hit me up, the agency can hit me up, or the team hit me up. So like a good example is I started with helping the Atlanta Dream. So with the Atlanta Dream, they're in the WNBA. Their GM hits me up. Hey man, we hear you have good services. We want to send some players to you. All right, perfect. What's your package? This is my package. This is the gym. Who's the player? So I can study them for about 2 weeks just to let you know if I can really help this person.
2 weeks? You have to you study somebody?
Yeah, well, I'm not just studying them for 2 weeks. I have so much going on my schedule that
I see what you mean.
The thing I don't just, let's say you're a big name. I'm not just going to take you just to take you. I need to know that I'm really going to change your life, if that makes sense. So I'll study that person for a long period of time and then hit you back. Hey, this is my price. Or let's say Billy hits me up and he wants to hire me. I'll let him make sure, or her make sure, that the team knows that I'm going to be training them, so there's no confusion there. Or in the summertime, the agency can hit me up, which is a good example, because this summer I'm booked through agencies where they hit me up and say, hey, we love your work. We was wondering, can you help other players in our agency to get better as well? So it can come from all 3 avenues: the player, the agency, or the team.
So, okay, and then how do you charge people? Is it hourly? Is it by project? Like, how do you charge people?
Yeah, I would say I charge people by each training session.
Like a trainer.
Yeah, I'm a trainer. So like a good example is last summer, Sabonis, he made the All-Star team this year. He was, I think, 2nd or 3rd team All-NBA. He was with me for the entire summer. So I'll send him a package so he can look over it, him and his financial team, and to see if it fits his budget and stuff like that. And that's how I handle my business. So it's just, let's say you're Tony and you want to train 4 times and you're in the NBA. I have to put a package together so you can see it that way as well. You know what I mean?
So you don't do it but like trainers usually do hourly. Like you'll have.
Yeah,
it's more.
This is the set rate. And the one thing, that's why sometimes it does make me a little different, because my training, it should be about 1 hour and 20. But if I feel like you're really not getting it, even if I'm not getting paid extra, I'll spend 2 hours with you if we have that gym time, or 3 hours.
Right.
Because I really want to see you get better. Even though I might not be getting the money that I deserve.
Right. But you want to make sure though, like they're like
I just want to make sure you understand what I'm saying so you can knock down that shot.
But are you doing is what I guess also like when you're with when your clients, are you strictly doing the shooting piece, or are you also like are you doing weights with them? Are you doing cardio? Is it just shooting?
Yeah, it's not just shooting. So like a good example is Sabonis. He's very good around the rim. So there's different things that we went over as well with that. There's different things I teach people in transition. There's different things I teach people off the dribble. Me, myself, I'm not a trainer that I'm helping people with dribbling. But if you have a package and you want to do something out of that package, I can show you how to do it at a very elite level because I was very good at certain manipulations on the basketball court to get what I want. If you understand where I'm coming from
Because
there.
I guess my point is, you're not like a gym trainer, like a personal trainer where you're in the gym. That's what I'm saying. So like you're not going into the gym with them and like doing 3 sets of squats.
No, that's not my job.
Right. That's not my job. But
job.
you're a coach. That's what I'm saying. Like, so if someone's getting you, like, let's use a real example. Okay. Kevin Durant. Who else are some of the ones that you're working with?
So Kevin isn't actually one of my clients. He played on my high school teams, but let's use Katavius Caldwell-Pope.
Okay.
That plays for the Nuggets. So when me and him train in the summer, when me and him train during the season, strictly everything is the gym. Whenever I step out of that boundary to go to weights, to go to a training session where they're running, it's more of, hey, coach, man, like, I need you there, man, so we get some motivation in or something like that. Not me saying this is the sets.
Right, you're not counting 4 more reps.
No.
Okay.
But everything on the basketball court when it comes to shooting and other things, that's my job. And that's what a lot of people have to understand as trainers too. Understand your boundaries. Understand what you're good at. Understand what your profession is.
Yeah.
And I feel like as trainers, a lot of people try to do everything. Everybody can't cut the lawn, clean the pool, and wash the car.
Yeah.
Let other people do their profession.
I agree with you. I think if you try to be too much to too many people, like you try to do too many things, you end up being bad at everything.
Exactly.
You have to be a specialist in what you're doing. Are there ways like you tell people, like if you're talking to, I don't know, who's the biggest person that you've ever worked with?
In the NBA or
Yeah.
WNBA?
Yeah. I don't know one person in the WNBA.
I'll say all of them are pretty big, but for name wise, this summer I had Anthony Davis for free throws.
Okay.
He did good with free throws this year. Jaylen Brown from the Celtics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's my client this year.
So what did you help him with?
Just understanding more to the art of shooting. He's shooting a very high percentage from the playoffs this year. Last night was a tough game, but the one thing I understand about my clients that a lot of people don't understand, you're gonna have good and bad games. And I think what's happening in the world today with fans hold athletes to a level that they don't hold themselves to. So you'll say, oh, that player can't do this, can't do that. And we're the same people that we make mistakes as well, if that makes sense. It's just this person is on a bigger platform than we are. So when my clients play bad, I don't really have a lot of pressure on myself because I understand that's what life's all about. You're going to fail, but you have to succeed more than you fail, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So Jaylen, Sabonis, I mean, he was an all-star this year. He took the Kings to one of the best runs this year, but in like 15, 20 years. You know what I mean? So it's just a blessing to train all these players. This season, I had Bobby Portis, I had Grayson Allen, I had Cole Anthony, I had Katavius Caldwell-Pope, Grant Williams that plays for the Celtics.
Is there any conflict? Because like if you know how someone shoots on one team and then someone else wants to hire you, can they be like, this like the bat, you'll be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. His weakness is so forth. So if you really want to like get a leg up, whoever, Anthony Davis, you should really do this. Or like, cause you have like,
intel,
the real intel on like people's weaknesses, their strengths, how other teams can like get a leg up. Isn't that dangerous for people to like have you going back and forth to different teams and people?
Well, it's dangerous, but my clients know my entire life is devoted to them, and I'll never do anything to
These
sabotage
are all nice
them.
answers, but
it's the truth.
But what I'm saying is, okay, that's the truth. But
Yeah.
I'm saying like you don't think like it's human nature. Like if I was like the GM or an owner or like a coach, I would be concerned about that.
No
one ever thought of that.
That's called professionalism, and that's what I have. So like a good example is when the Bucks play the Celtics.
Okay,
I train Grant, I train Jaylen, and I train Bobby, and I train Grayson Allen. If I'm helping the Celtics at that time in their gym, if a coach came to me, hey bro, like what do you think? How do we stop Bobby? I'm not gonna be in there, oh, he likes this, he can't do this, because that's my man. Like I would never do anything to sabotage one of my homies, if that makes sense. You get what I mean? And the good thing about the field that I'm in, a coach know not to come to me with no stuff like that, because I take my guys very
Right.
serious.
And
Unless
they
it's a
know.
joke. Unless it's a joke. Like if I've had this before where a coach like, come on, man, like what can we do to stop? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, go ahead, coach. Like, but nobody's ever gonna come to me like that, because
No one's ever done it.
nah, not
I guess
once.
also it's like elite. They would be, you know.
I mean, it's business. You know what I mean? Not saying it's never been done, but it's never happened to me.
I mean, if I would just think at that level when so
Yeah.
much is riding on shit, like
Yeah.
someone be like, "Hey, I'll give you $1 million if you
Yeah.
tell me this." Because I mean, you have that intel. I'd be
Yeah.
like concerned that. I'm surprised it's never ever like come to be.
Nah, it never happened. I do have fans who are funny, like on social media. Like they'll message me like, "Come on, man, I'm about to do a fan duel. Do you think blah 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 is gonna hit four
Yeah,
threes
yeah,
today?"
yeah. That's
And you know I can't respond, because like it's just I just can't respond. But I do find that hilarious.
That is
you know
really
what I
funny.
mean? Like one of my good friends the other day was like, "Do you think Michael Porter's gonna get over 7 rebounds?" And I can't say anything. I don't know. I mean, of course, me and
Yes.
Mike talk about the main goal for that game, but I can never tell somebody, you know what? This game, Michael Porter's main goal is he wants to get 12 rebounds, because that's just nobody's business. That's me and his business. If that
Totally.
makes sense. So
Of course it makes
yeah, they're
sense.
safe with me.
So then how backed up are you? Like if I called you to do something, like you booked out now for how long?
Yeah.
Because you have like how long would it take to?
Well, I'll say you said your son. It's kind of hard for me to
Yeah,
do.
I was
No, I'm
kinda
just saying in
kidding, but yeah.
general. It's kind of hard.
Although
to,
I would love it, by the way.
That would be
wasn't gonna
amazing.
say that.
Yeah, but it's hard to do stuff with kids right now unless it's like a big group, if that makes sense. Because I am fully booked for the summer for one-offs, if that makes sense.
Okay, so okay, wait. So if I can get 5 of his friends together,
Yeah, maybe about 100. It's like
100. Okay, well
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
but 5 we could figure it out. But all jokes aside, like
What's the price point? Just give me a range of how much it would cost to
for
have
kids, I mean, I'm not here to like hurt any kids' pockets, so it's a really low price period. Like I said, like for instance, like when I speak for the NBA, it's about 5,000 kids in there. I charge a bare minimum, because my main goal is to just
What's bare minimum? People are going to call me and ask me. They're like,
well,
how much
they
would
have
it
to
cost?
go through my manager for that.
Because they're
one.
going to say
it changes sometimes.
I'll have a lot of parents on here
Yeah.
being like, I wonder if he'll do my
Well,
kid.
if it's a referral from you, we'll figure out something to make it really low. But
Okay.
yeah, I think the most that people pay is probably from the teams. The NBA
100%.
teams pay the most, and agencies and stuff like that. Because shooting right now, it's the difference between making 20 million and 300. Like, you know, Jalen right now, he's
Totally.
up for $318 million because he took his shooting percentage up. You know what I mean? And that's how Bobby Portis signed that big contract, because the year I started working with him, he went to number 2 in the NBA in 3-point percentage. So now his value went up in money. So like if you really want to make a lot of money in the NBA, like you name all the top 5 players in the NBA right now, like Kevin, Luka, Steph Curry, Clay, all of them can shoot. That's why all of them make over $100 million. Like Damian Lillard, $200 million. So like it's a big value in learning how to shoot the
so you
basketball.
should be charging more money.
I should be charging. But the thing is, like I said, like, you know, I should, but like I'm really in it to like just help others, if that makes sense. Like
What makes you the best shooting coach versus Joe Blow over here?
Mm-hmm.
Like what's that one thing that makes you so good that everybody wants to have you as their coach?
Well, I think everybody says that I'm the best shooting coach, but that's their feelings. Me, myself, I think there's a lot of great shooting coaches out there, if that makes sense. So I think what makes me different, I'm not trying to say I'm the best, is just my ability to do what I'm teaching. You know what I mean? Like I can really shoot really, really good, like at a really high level. So when I watch somebody, I can immediately tell what they're doing wrong. You get where I'm coming from? So like, soon as somebody's doing something wrong, I can immediately pick that up. But there's other trainers that can do that as well. You know what I mean? Not saying that they're not out there. It's just I have a platform where I'm training the top players so people can see it on TV, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like tonight, KCP's playing against the Lakers tonight. Michael Porter's playing against the Lakers. AD is going to get fouled and go to the free throw line. So that's 3 people alone that my product is going to be seen.
Huge.
It's a lot of pressure.
a lot of pressure because if they don't do well, it's on you.
I wouldn't say it's on me because you're the one shooting the basketball, good or bad. But like I said, if they play good, I'm behind them. If they play bad, I'm behind them. But it's not a lot of pressure on me that if they're playing bad. I'm saying it's a lot of pressure on me because I was the one that helped them. But if they play bad, me personally, I could care less because I wasn't the one shooting the basketball.
Who is the hardest worker that you've ever worked with? Most.
I'll say all of them are hard workers, but I would say this person isn't an NBA player. It's a mesh of two. Like they're really crazy. So the first one, his Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers. Yeah, he's pretty nuts. So like when he's being crazy like that on TV, like that's really him. So like I'll be training him, and when he's done, he'll just out of nowhere just do 70 push-ups or do 80 push. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you, bro? He's like, I got. But it just shows that's why he's the best, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and that's the good thing about training different celebrities as well, because you'll get to see who's serious and who's not, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I would say the second person, I didn't think he was going to be like this, but it was Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban is pretty nuts. So like when I trained Mark, we were only supposed to train for an hour, but it was something he wasn't understanding when I was teaching it. And I thought he was acting at first. You know what I mean? He's on Shark Tank. You know what I mean? I was like, is this dude fucking with me a little bit? But I started realizing that's why he's a billionaire, because he won't stop until he really figures out how to properly do it. So we stayed in the gym for like 2 hours and 45 minutes. Like he was really going crazy in there. You remember this guy's 50 plus.
No, he's not 50 plus.
Yeah.
He's 60. How old is Mark
63,
Cuban?
64.
Yeah.
So it was just like when I was watching him, I was like, damn, he's inspiring me. So
wow.
by that, you know, by watching that, it's making me go harder, because I'm like, this dude is this age. He just finished filming Shark Tank that night. He came to the gym. What people don't understand is he had makeup on. So I said, hey, bro, you know you got makeup on, right? He's like, oh, man, my bad. I was just rushing over here because I want to get better. And I'm like, at that age, he still wants to get better. You get what I'm saying?
Totally.
And it just shows why these people are successful. You get where I'm coming from?
Listen,
it's not fake. It's not by mistake.
It's not by mistake.
Yeah.
By the way, I find you mentioned Mark Cuban. He was on this podcast not that long ago, actually.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Yeah.
Because for exactly the same reason that you said it, because there's no phoniness there. No. Like he really is relentless at like and wanting to be like, wants to get better. He wants to understand. Yeah. There is no mistake why he is where he is. No, 100%, absolutely true. 100%. And it's interesting because, you know, when what I do and what you do, right. I meet a ton of people. Right. And like, it's sometimes like kind of disheartening because you kind of are like, you know, I wish that person was actually more of what I thought they were going to be. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And a lot of times you're disappointed. He exceeded my expectations, not the other way around. Yeah. You know? Yeah. That's interesting. Okay, who else? Give me some other examples.
I mean, mostly everybody goes, like, I feel like too, not saying because it's me, but I feel like when I train people, they want to go, they don't want to
waste it.
They don't want to waste it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Makes perfect sense.
So, you know, it's just that situation, like 2 Chainz goes hard. He's really serious about basketball. You know what I mean?
Is Drake, does he work hard?
Drake is very serious. He's a little crazy too.
In what way?
Crazy that he really wants to be like really good. Player.
I think in the back of his head, he actually wanted, like he wished he was.
I mean, who doesn't? You know what I mean? Yeah. Everybody. I mean, this guy built the whole full court in his house. You know what I mean? Like he has $100 million house, but he has like the same size basketball court of an NBA gym in his house.
By the way, I've been to a couple of people's homes that have that here in LA.
Yeah, it's serious. Like basketball is like, it's serious. Like, you know what I mean? It's a serious sport. So it's just to see these people, like you're saying, like to see them just go hard. And like you're saying, it's not fake. Like, yo, I'm trying, like this week I talked to Kodak Black, I talked to Morris Chestnut, I talked to Soulja Boy.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. I talked to all these celebrities because they just want to get in the gym. Like you just said, I just trained Diplo 2 weeks ago, and I thought he was, but you know, he just wants to do a video. But like he really was like, yo, no, how do you hold this? What do you do with this finger? And then what do you do with this? And why are your feet like this? And in my head, I'm like, man, he's asking a lot of questions. But I started realizing again, he's asking a lot of questions because he really wants to understand how to properly do this. If that makes sense.
100%. And like, as you're saying that, I was thinking, before you even said that, Can you give me some like easy, practical tips for
Yeah.
people listening? Because that I can give my kid too.
Yeah.
Of like what people can do to get like just to get better at basketball, because like I feel like also people love it just as a stress reliever to go out there and shoot
it's
hoops,
true.
right?
It's true. So like I'll say like a good example is like one of my clients, Marlon Wayans.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I train him. So like the biggest thing that you want to do when you're just starting from the start, like I haven't played basketball in a long time. I've been on the road. I'm working. If you're Joe Blow at home and you're working all day, you just want to get back into the game, start off by form shooting. Get in the gym, cut some soothing music on, and just form shoot. Get one of your homies or one of your girls to pass you the ball. Or if you're a girl, get a girl, get somebody to pass you the ball, and just relax your mind. And then from there, you take another step back. You start relaxing, you're shooting the ball, you take that time, and then you'll look up in 3 weeks, you're at the free throw line. And then you get that touch back, and now you're shooting. And it's just like, it just helps with the feeling of the shot, if that makes sense.
So
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're saying though the form you said earlier was you just get close to the basket.
You don't want to get too close. So the mistake that people make, if this is the rim, you don't want to be too close because you don't want to be shooting up like this. That leads to a bad shot. You always want to be shooting extended. So I would say maybe about 3 steps away from the rim, small steps that you're always extending that right arm and not shooting up in the air that way. You know what I mean? And I do that with the highest paying client. Like last night with Michael Porter Jr., like I said, we shot for about an hour and some change, but the first 30 minutes, all form shooting. You get what I mean? Because it's like a relaxation, but you're concentrating. It doesn't matter what's going on around you. The only thing that matters is that jump shot. You know what I mean? So, and if you want to be great, and now if you want to go in there just to have some fun with your friends, you can do the same thing. Just go in there and just form shoot, laugh, and have a good time. But it's still getting up good reps, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Don't ever go in the gym just to throw up bad shots. You know what I mean?
How about footwork and all that type of thing?
Yeah, footwork is more important depending on what your game is. So like a good example is somebody like Bobby Portis. He has to be good at the jab step pull up. He has to be good at the turnaround jump shot. The thing about KCP, he's never going to do turnaround jump shots. So he has to be good at coming off curls. So it's just whatever your game is, you want to work on that type of footwork. If you're a guard, you need to work on shooting in transition. You need to work on shooting off the dribble. If you're a center, you need to work on the jab. You need to work on the turnaround. You need to work on your hook shots to the footwork for that. So it's just whatever your game is. But like you're saying, if it's Joe Blow, it's nothing wrong working on all those things because you're just hooping with the homies. You're having a good time. But most importantly, you got to put in the time if you want to take your game to the next level.
Yeah. And have overall conditioning, right?
Condition is very important, and that's even if you're not playing basketball. You always want to take the time at least 2-3 times a week just to get that heart moving. You know what I mean? Especially if you are playing basketball, you can't be out there and not be conditioned the right way. And a good example is about a month ago, I trained Kevin Gates. He's a rapper, and I did not realize how much energy he had. We trained for like 2 hours and he was not fatigued at all. And I'm like, bro, what, like, you good, bro? And he was like, man, that's what I do. He was like, I work out every day. I make sure I do my push-ups. I make sure I do my sit-ups. And I'm like, I can tell, like, you aren't even winded at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a good example is when I did run the racks, when I broke the world record, I lost 18 pounds. And that was the only way that I can break that world record because I had to be in like dumb shape. So I go back to trying to break the world record in about 2 weeks. I have to lose about 15 pounds this time, but I'm dedicated.
This time?
Yeah, I'm gonna lose 15
What is that?
pounds.
What's that thing that you're doing? It's called?
So it's the 3-point contest when you go around the racks. I broke the world record, but I realized I was like, my shot is good, but I'm not going fast enough. So Red Bull did a good job of putting the right people around me to understand my body and my health and what can I do to go faster.
Are you sponsored by Red Bull?
I'm sponsored by Red Bull.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so God is good with that. I'm the first athlete ever that's not a professional athlete in the field to be signed with them. Yeah, and I'm the first athlete ever with my own Jordan shoe.
I want to ask you about that. That's so amazing.
Yeah, it's such a
that to
blessing.
me is so impressive. Are those them?
No, these aren't these, but
Okay.
I can definitely sign a pair and give you some. Yeah, for sure.
Would you promise?
Yeah, I mean, I got you. I mean, I said it.
I know. Now he's on here saying it. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I say on the podcast,
I
never
know.
talk to you again.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. I'll never hear from you again.
No, I got you. I
Okay,
promise.
good.
But
and my little boy, please, too.
yeah,
Do you
well,
have a kid?
I can do one. I can only do one.
Why isn't it?
Because
give it to him.
the first shoe is like with DJ Khaled, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your first shoe is only family and friends, so only make a certain amount. Your second shoe is retail. So the first one, I only have about 50 pair. We gave a pair to like Martin Lawrence. We gave a pair to Bad Bunny. We gave a pair to Little Yachty. You know, Little Yachty's one of my clients. So
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So your
I
first
train a lot
run? No, I don't care. But
with sneakers, yeah.
Yeah.
So like with celebrities, when your first shoe comes out, they just want to see if the masses are gonna like really like it, if that makes sense. But I was blessed that when my first run came around, all the top sneakerheads wanted them. So Jordan Brand was like, hold up, like, you know, we might be on to something. You know what I mean? So people were going crazy over them. But the thing is, they only make a certain amount of pair to go to the masses.
50 pairs for the first run.
Yeah, it went to like all the top celebrities and stuff like that.
And
but
you're going to give a pair to me?
Yeah, I'm gonna sign. I got
That's
you.
so nice of you. Oh my gosh, I appreciate that very much.
For sure. So it's just like, you know, to be the first trainer ever to have that, you know what I mean? And I'm the first trainer ever to have a jump shot in NBA 2K.
How did you get? Okay, so tell me how this happened.
Just being consistent, you know
like,
what I mean?
Did they come to you? That to me, the shoe is like.
I mean, it's
amazing.
it's unreal. Yeah, it's unreal, and there's more things coming soon.
Are they going to do another run to the masses, or you don't know yet?
It's some big things coming up soon, and I'm just blessed to just be in a situation that, like you said, I didn't make it to the NBA, but I'm getting the perks of an NBA player. You
100.
know what I mean? And
like,
it's just I never take it for granted.
So wait a minute. So how did someone at Jordan come to you or
yeah?
Nike
So the way it works, we can do let's do the NBA 2K one. So
okay.
NBA 2K reached out to me and was like, hey, man, we see how great you are as a shooter. We've never.
What is NBA 2K? Should I know what
it's
that
a video game. It's like the biggest video game in the world, right?
So my kid will know.
Yeah, he'll know. So they reached out to me and said, hey, we want to consider to make your jump shot a feature in the game just like an NBA player. And I'm like, whoa, like, wow. Like, so they said, but it'll take 2 years. Like, we have to wait, see what happens. So I went to film. I went there, and we just released about 8-9 months ago. I was the first trainer ever to have my jump shot in NBA 2K, which is my jump shot. So like, if you're in the house, you're playing with your son, you can get the lethal shooter jump shot. Yeah, it's crazy.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's a blessing. Yeah, it's a blessing.
That's amazing.
Yeah. No, I definitely don't take it for granted. So it's just, that's why stories like this, I think, is very important, because it just lets people know, you know, okay, you didn't get where you wanted, you know, but why stop? Just keep going, because you never know, in today's world, you can get the perks of that player. Like I said, I'm not sitting in Hidden Hills with $300 million, which I would take, you know what I mean?
100%,
but
yes.
I'm still doing other things. I'm an NBA ambassador. So I have a TV show with the NBA. They send me to different, like last year for the draft, I was with the commissioner having some talk about the games, and they let me, I mean, it might sound corny to some people, but like, they let me walk over the stage. Like, you know, lethal shooter gets drafted,
That's so nice.
And they didn't let other people do that. And then they let me follow Paulo, which was the #1 draft pick. You know, I was with him the entire draft. The next day, me and him had to go to Orlando for media, and because I was showing people what it feels like to be an NBA, because people don't know their lives.
Right.
So the NBA trusted me to be around Paulo to show his life after getting drafted, because people think as soon as he gets drafted, he's just partying.
Yeah.
This is unreal.
Like, what happens? Tell us.
So what happens is, as soon as you get drafted, you go to the back, straight media. After that, they're telling you what's going on, because the next day you got to go right to your team to get checked. They're making sure you're legit, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
As soon as you finish doing that, you got to sign like 200 jerseys, like Paulo. Then you got to do all the media there. Then you have to do all this content, because they got to push out content for the team. Then you have to find a house. Then you have to find all the furniture. Then you have to find a car. Then you have to find, like, it's just so much stuff that happens in between that time. And I was blessed to have a show that's it's actually on the NBA TV where you can watch it, where, you know, it's presenting just basically what NBA players go through. So when the NBA asked me to be an ambassador, I was just like, hell yeah. Like,
yeah,
So,
of course.
yeah, man, I'll never take that for granted. So like they have some amazing stuff set up for me coming up as well. And then, which is, like I told you, I'm gonna be the first person in 2 weeks. I'm gonna be the first person ever to shoot against a robot. Yeah,
That is so crazy.
yeah, so Japan right now, they you know they built a robot that actually breaks all odds of shooting. It's like the perfect robot that can shoot.
And you're gonna go against this robot?
It's like man versus robot. So I go do that June 19th, which is it's gonna be a big deal.
What happens if the robot keeps on winning?
I mean, I feel like it's like Terminator. I feel like we lost. We all lost. If I lose, mankind loses.
I was going to say,
I won't let us down.
This is really funny you're saying this. Oh my God, I had this guy on my podcast. He's a world famous economist, probably the most famous one in the his name's Nouriel Roubini, and he wrote this book called Mega Threats, like the 10 biggest threats that are surrounding our world. And we had this whole conversation about AI and and how he believes that like we are all going to be part machine way sooner than you think, because like that is what's happening. Like the humankind is actually going to be obsolete pretty soon. Yeah. So you're right. Like if you lose, we're screwed. If I lose,
I'm letting everybody down.
Yes.
So everybody just don't worry about it. I mean, I practice a lot. I think I'm going to be fine. Mankind is going to win this.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Are you practicing still to this day? How much do you practice yourself a day?
Well, my schedule's a little bit different now.
Tell me. I want to know a day in the life of you.
So I wake my kids up.
Wait, you got kids?
I got 2 kids.
How old are your kids?
4 and 2. Yeah.
Wow, okay. Are you married, not married?
I have a fiance.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wake up, get them ready for school, feed them.
What time do you wake up?
Like 6:15.
Okay.
Yeah, and then take them to school, come home, go over film, go over interviews, go over stuff with the PR team, go over stuff with Nate for content. Like right now, I'm doing court renovations in DC. I'm getting ready for that. I'm getting ready for the stuff for Red Bull. It's a lot of stuff that people don't see that I do behind the scenes.
Tell us, that's why you're here.
Just basically just getting organized. I have to do something next weekend in Memphis for Nike. Then I go straight.
Are you signed with Nike then technically?
Well, they're the same umbrella. So
right.
I'm with Jordan Brand and Nike. So with Nike, I'm blessed to be one of the head trainers for basketball. So like they use me for certain camps and stuff like that. EYBL is the best in the world right now for grassroots, and they allow me to help them, to help the kids with the art of shooting, because that's how much Nike trusts me. You know what I mean? And it's funny because when I first started with Nike during the pandemic, people used to make fun of me because of my rim ideas, because I'm the one to do all those creative rims and thinking out of the box.
People made fun of you for that? Why?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter that I was training all these athletes and they were shooting good, but people just made fun of me because they're like, ha ha ha, look at you. But the one thing I realize in life, when you think out of the box and you're creative, people are going to laugh who aren't creative. And it's funny that they were laughing at me because now the NBA, Red Bull, Jordan, all the biggest brands in the world, I signed a deal with Continental Tire. So it's just like to sign with all these companies because they see my creative.
Who's laughing now?
Yeah. So it's just
you basically created a brand. For yourself.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was just...
Yeah, no, for sure. So it's definitely a blessing. And to have Nike sign me and have me be a part of these things when everybody was kind of making fun of me, it just shows me how much they believed in me. Same with Jordan Brand. Like, they were helping me do content during the pandemic when, like I told you, at first it was like, ha. Now Jordan Brand and Nike look amazing because I'm a part of the Nike family. So it's just a dream come true to have, especially Red Bull. Red Bull was there for me to like, hey, we don't really sign athletes right now that aren't professional in their field, but we think you made your own lane and you're a professional in that field. We want to sign you to this type of deal. And to have them do ideas that I feel that are dreams come true. Like 3 years ago, I posted on my page that I wanted to shoot against a robot, And now Red Bull set up all these things so I can go be the first person ever to shoot against a robot for 5 days in Japan.
So they're the ones who set this whole thing up.
Yeah, they said, I mean, it's not easy to do stuff abroad. I'm the first person ever to shoot in front of the pyramids.
Really?
Yeah, I'm the first person ever to shoot. We had to go through the government. We had to wait from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. as the sun was coming up to do it because it's like sacred grounds. Like they only let certain people in at a certain time. When we pulled into the gates at the pyramids, they had to take us all out, search the van, go search underneath the van, go through all our bags, check our whole bodies because it's sacred. You know what I mean? And then as the sun was coming up, I was shooting there, and then that's another thing I have in my record. You know, the first person to ever shoot in front of the pyramids, and I have other things lined up in the next 2 years that I thought of that nobody's ever done with a bat. I'm the first person ever to shoot underwater.
Do you have a video of that?
Yeah, it's on my page. It went viral. It hit Sports Center. It hit House of Highlights, which was a blessing. Yeah, so I did that. So it's just.
I'm sorry, not to be. I want to see that. Will you show me that?
Yeah, I'll show you. Yeah, so it was awesome moment. So just
that's also looking after.
Just to continue. Don't be afraid to think out of the box.
First of all, I love that message because it's 100% true. And you said something earlier that I had this book. I wrote a book recently, and my big tagline always is like, you may not. It doesn't really matter my tagline, but the whole idea is that you may not get the goal, but by going down that path, another opportunity will present itself that you never knew existed by just even doing it and having like action, like momentum. And which is what you kind of said was that like you may not have got in to be an NBA player per se, but you are, and that this other opportunity presented itself that is just as like, maybe not that, but it's like you're thriving in this, and you would never probably have thought this would ever have happened to you. Like you've basically created, like you said, like your own lane, your own brand. Who came up with the name Lethal Shooter? Yeah,
so like when I was growing up, my dad would always call me Lethal, but there was no social media back then. You know what I mean? It was like Facebook and MySpace.
Yeah.
So when my friend Jonathan told me that I should think about Instagram, I was like, I ain't trying to make no damn Instagram page. Like I ain't got time for that.
Yeah.
So he, at that time you can use your iPod. You remember to do the apps. So he gave me his iPod, and we were coming up with names, and I couldn't think of a name. I was thinking of some corny names. And I was like, you know what? I'll just use Lethal and Shooter. So I was like, oh, wow, like Lethal Shooter. But nobody ever took it. So at first I was getting a lot of backlash because Lethal Shooter, people think it's shooting a gun.
Yeah.
And then now that people understand that my brand is all about positive vibes and just staying locked in and staying focused on your goals, that name is starting to trend in a positive way. And it's a dream come true that I was able to get that name because, I think I'm doing a good job of trying to let people in the world know who I am. Chris Matthews, Lethal Shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, how long have you been on social media doing these videos then?
So I just started doing those videos about 7 years ago. 7 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So before I had Instagram, of course, Facebook, we wasn't, it was just photos. Hey, I'm hanging out with the homies. But with Instagram, you remember it was just photos. And then once they started doing videos, I'm like, damn, what can I do to get people's attention? If that makes sense. So I tried to shoot a video for the first time and people went crazy. And I was like, damn, people were infatuated with my shooting, but I only had 15 seconds. You remember that?
Yeah.
It was so I was trying to squeeze in as much as I can in 15, and they put it up to a little bit more. So I've always figured out ways to stretch out that time to make it really good content that a lot of people can't. Well, it's hard content. You know what I mean?
So just 3 weeks ago. So until 3 weeks ago, because now Chris just hired a social media person. You were doing all of the content by yourself?
Yep. So I do all of my content by myself.
Who was shooting the shooter?
A tripod, or I have a friend hold it, and then I'll edit it myself. So it was just more of just like, I don't want to say being selfish, but just like I want stuff done a certain way. So if people do content with me, they know I'm very particular. Yeah. So I've been working with Nate for a little while long. And I was like, you know what? I need to hire this guy full time because he understands me and he understands what I'm looking for. And when it comes to content, that's a certain type of thing because I can't have you mess up. You know?
I totally agree. Yeah. So you were doing all of this yourself.
Yep.
And you thought of like, hey, I'm going to put myself on Instagram and do these videos.
Yep.
Was there anybody doing that at all besides you?
Yeah, there's a lot of videos out there with people who are shooting and doing creative ideas. But, there's just like a lot of people in the world right now that have podcasts, but everybody's not you, if that makes sense. So people are attracted to certain type of things. Not saying that me and you are better than the next man or woman, but, we're blessed that people want to hear our stories. And that's how it comes with my shooting videos. When I post, people are infatuated with how's this guy doing it.
Well, they're
You know
so
what I mean?
creative too.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do. Like, and that's what I think was wrong with the world. And I was telling Nate as well. Everybody's trying to do something that everybody else is doing. So if you do something that God has blessed you with, people are going to see it. And that's why I do the things that I do, because it's like, it's my idea. There's no rim idea. There's no idea that somebody can say, oh no, I did that first. No, this is something I thought of first. And that's why I put that type, like the content that I'm about to post June 1st is going to be insane. Like, you'll see. I can't say it on here, but it's going to be insane. Like, it's an insane rim idea, and it was something that I've been thinking about.
Well, this is going to go up probably after June 1st. So
okay, cool. So they're going to see it. So June 1st, I got a sick idea coming out.
You don't want to tell me what it is?
Well, I can't say it now.
You're not. It's going to be out.
Oh, it's going to be out.
Well,
so like
this will be probably like a week or two after June 1st.
Oh yeah, so it's like an idea where the rim is swinging, and then if I miss the ball a bust. So it's like it's some sick stuff. It was pretty easy for me to make the shots, but it's just thinking out of the box, if that makes sense. And then the idea that I have after that is just, it's so sick. Like, it's
and you're just constantly thinking of these new things all the time.
I watch a lot of things to stimulate myself. Like, you know, it might be weird. Like, I watch like Denzel Washington, Eddie Murphy. I watch Tyler Perry. It has nothing to do with basketball, but all of them are so different characters, if that makes sense. And I like to watch those different type of people because they're not like one trick ponies. And when I watch them, it gives me different ideas how I can, you know, do different things in my rim. When I say rim, I'm not talking about basketball. I'm talking about in my rim of basketball. But, you know, I want to have a TV show. I want to be a trainer. I want to do rim ideas. I want to be a content creator. I was the basketball tech for Fresh Prince of Bel-Air this year for Paramount and Westbrook. I was in a movie with Adam Sandler for Hustle because they only saw my content. That's how they saw me. So Adam Sandler saw my content and was like, yo, I want him. And that's same with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
So wait, tell me what happened. So what did you do in Hustle? Give me Adam Sandler's story because I love Adam Sandler.
So they reached out. It was like, Adam, saw your video and we love what you're doing. Would you want to be in the movie Hustle? And at the time, like, I've turned down a few other movie opportunities because I was like, you know, I'm still stern on what I know. Then I had to realize, if I really want my brand to reach a certain point, it's not about doing everything, but I have to do other things as well.
Yeah.
So I went to the set and I met Adam, and he's another person. I'm like, okay, this guy's fake. Like, this can't be real. This guy is serious about basketball.
Oh.
He is like a gym junkie. So like when he was out there, he was getting shooting tips from me, the professor, and then during his breaks, he eats his fruit, looks at the scene that he needs to watch, which was an honor because I asked him, I said, it's okay if I watch how you guys edited this? He's like, yeah, watch. And I was watching him. As soon as he's done, he gets right back and starts shooting again. And I'm like, okay, this guy's the legit. He's seriously legit about this. You know what I mean? So it was an honor to do Hustle with Adam Sandler. So that's what happened with.
Did you train him to be able to train, like, because his whole role is being a coach, right?
Yeah, so he was a coach. So
right.
He didn't really need training, but he did take the time from me and the professor to learn some things on
professor,
set. He's an influencer as well.
Oh,
okay. He's a basketball trainer, but we call him the professor.
You call him the professor,
yeah.
Okay. But like in the movie Hustle, though, wasn't he a coach?
He was a coach slash scout.
A scout. That's what he was, a scout.
Yeah, but on set, he was more training people, if that makes sense. But during those dead times.
Yeah, what was your role, though? What were you supposed to be
So I'm
doing?
a trainer in the movie. I'm lethal shooter in the movie.
You are?
Yeah, and they gave me a credit, and I was like, "What the hell?" I was so confused. Like, I was like,
"You're actually a trainer in the movie?"
Yeah, I'm a trainer in the movie.
And so was the professor you were
saying. Yeah.
Both of you were. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was a dream come true.
So is this professor guy like you?
Well, he doesn't train NBA players and stuff like that. He's like a content creator that he does these creative ideas as well on social media. So to do that was just. I mean, for people like Adam to even know who I am is
that's
just
incredible.
It's a dream come true.
And he literally found you on Instagram.
Yeah, they saw. That's how it was for Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. They called me in. They said, "Have you ever done TV shows before?" And I was like, "Nah." So they was like, "If we have a scene, can you help write this certain scenes?" And they was like, "Who writes your content?" And I was like, "I write," because I do skits. Do you know I do skits?
No.
Yeah, I do viral skits. I just did a skit with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Are you joking?
Yeah, I just did a skit with him, and it has 24 million views. Yeah, so like when I do skits, so when they saw my skits, they thought that other people wrote my skits, and I was like, no, I write. I'm doing another skit. Me and him are doing another skit with another creator this week, and I was like, I write my own skits. So they were like, well, give us an example of boom, 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 boom. When I was like, well, I would boom, 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 boom. They're like, all right, you want to work for this season? And I was like, shit, I'll take it. And they told me how much I was getting paid. I was like, shit, I'll work for 20 years.
Oh, you serious?
Yeah. So it was a blessing. You know, his name's Morgan Cooper. He wrote Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the new one.
Yeah.
It's called Bel-Air. And when Morgan put me on that call with those people, I'm not gonna lie, I was very nervous. It's very intimidating to get on a call and you have like Peacock and all these different people and they don't know who you are. You're like an outsider, you know, because I've never been in the industry. I've never been a part of a set. And for Morgan to believe in me to help with a something that's bringing back that Will Smith's a part of, I was nervous. But then I realized, like, fuck, what am I nervous for? Like, this is why I do content. I do content so I can get picked up to do 100%. Stuff like this. So like, I mean, I was smashing. They hired me for this season and like I did 2 seasons and we just got picked up for a 3rd season.
They did?
Yeah, we just got picked up for a 3rd season.
So a movie like that, you were saying they wanted to know if you could, like, what would you do? What would be your role? They hire you to do exactly
So it's a TV
what?
show called Bel-Air and it's called a basketball tech. So my job is when there's basketball scenes going on, it's my job to watch it to let them know if it looks real or if it looks fake.
Right.
And then it's my job that if scenes are not of a par, I can fill in where I might feel that it needs to look real. So we shot a scene in Venice where me and Jabari, you know, Jabari Banks, he's like he's like the main actor. Yeah. He's my client. So we were training for this scene where he's going against a guy that's like 6'8". But as we were shooting it, it was starting to feel a little fake, like Hollywood shit. And then we're like, listen, if we want the consumer to feel this is real basketball, this is what we have to change. Mm-hmm. And that's a blessing from Morgan and different people that are directors to allow me to just have a voice. Because for me to go to a director and say, nah, that looks fake. And they'll say, what do you want to change? I think instead of him smacking him, maybe they act like they're going to do something over here to make it look real. And they'll change it. And it's just like, it's a dream come true because, I mean, whoever think Lethal Shooter would be on going to these sets? You know what I mean? It's like it's crazy.
It's really honestly amazing how like things basically just blossomed and spiraled for you in a really great way. Like because you can shoot well, you had the foresight to be like, oh my God, if I can do this, then people will see me to do that. And I will then get other opportunities will present themselves. Like, right. Did you ever think that you'd be on a movie with Adam, you know, you would be the lethal shooter in an Adam Sandler movie or like, you know, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air TV show for 3 seasons or have your own shoe with Jordan? I mean, that's like insane. That in itself is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I always knew I was going to be successful. That's why I wasn't really tripping as much because I have my diploma. And if anything came down to it, I would just use my diploma to be. Like a lot of people don't know, I was a teacher's assistant before at Needwood Academy. When I was trying to figure out my life, they allowed me to be the basketball coach there. So nice. We went all the way to the championship game and lost by 1 point. So if I wasn't doing all this, I wouldn't mind being a teacher. Yeah, I won't have millions of followers, but when I was a teacher, it was just fun just helping people figure it out. Because the one thing about them kids, they need help figuring. That's why my whole brand, every day I'm posting motivational. If you look at my whole page, it's about motivation just to help these kids know like somebody appreciates you, somebody cares for you, you're beautiful, keep your mind right and stuff like that. So I didn't think I was going to get to this point where it's like, you know, people like Snoop Dogg say, like the other day I was telling him on live, Snoop Dogg was like, yo, we got to get in the gym, Lethal Shooter. Like, I didn't think this would be happening. So it's just like, you know, this is definitely a dream come true.
Did you play with Snoop yet or not yet?
I haven't played with him yet, but that's definitely going to, I think, I was telling Nate in the car, I think I'll quit after I get like Denzel, Eddie Murphy, Tyler Perry, Obama, and who else did I name? I know this is going to sound crazy, but Oprah. I think I want to get Oprah to shoot a form shot.
Really?
Like what you did. Like just a little form shot.
I think that can happen.
Yeah, I think that can happen.
Why can't that happen? First of all, the list of people that you just said are obviously going to happen because number one, I know Obama loves.
Yeah, he loves basketball.
It's just a matter of time. Like
patience.
You might be checking your phone right now. It might
be in the email. We got to speak into it right now. Speak it into existence.
I bet he may have just DM'd you now for all you know.
I'm telling you. So it's definitely gonna. Those are like the people that, like I told you, they inspire me. And I'm really motivated by what they do. So for sure, it's gonna go down.
Oh my God! by the way, you are very inspired. It's very motivational. You're very inspiring. I love what you've done with your with one thing that you were very good at, and you've created an entire business brand around it. And
Yep.
you didn't finish telling me though, because I probably interrupted you. I apologize. And then just quickly tell me what your day-to-day routine is. You said you wake up, you take your kids to school.
Yeah, wake up around 6:15, wake them up. You know, that's tough. Brushing teeth,
Do I know
washing
it?
faces, changing clothes,
All that.
breakfast, take them to school, come back home. I got to handle emails. I got to handle content ideas. I got to handle calls. Because like I told you with Red Bull, doing stuff with Nike, doing stuff with Jordan, it's like big projects that we're working on. Usually pick them up at school around 12:30. As soon as I pick them up, I have to take them to the playground and play with them. Usually during their nap is more. I take more calls. And I do that. Then now I have time for myself to maybe watch a little bit of TV. Then it's dinner time. Once they eat dinner, I gotta put them to bed. And then
Do you have them like where's the fiance? Is she helping at all?
yeah, I mean, the one
Okay.
thing that I learned since I travel so much, when I'm at home, I try to be the father and the dad.
Yeah.
I mean the mom.
I know what you mean.
Because like for instance, when I go to Japan, I go from Japan in a few weeks, then I go to Greece, and I go straight to Atlanta, then I go to DC. So I might be gone for I'm like a basketball player. I might be gone for like 4 weeks. So it's like when I am at home, I try to do more than I have to do, if that makes sense. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like this morning when I was playing with my youngest daughter, like I have like a little moped. And me and her just riding around the valley on the moped and then doing that, and then came back home, let her drive her car. I know there's a lot of dads out there that don't want to do it, but like I really wanted to just chill this morning. But I realized those are the times that I have to spend to just let her know, look, I got your back, if that makes sense. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I try to exceed my limits when I'm at home, because I mean, I'm gone a lot. Like
A lot.
I'm really a lot. Like I'm gone a lot. You know what I mean? Because my brand is dependent on that. Like I'm about to do, you know, this is coming out, and I don't know when it's coming out, but I'm about to do one of the biggest collabs coming up soon. I'm about to be gone for a long time to film with that overseas. So it's just.
What collab are you doing? We'll
I don't know when the collab. I know when I'm filming it, but I don't know when it's coming out. So I don't know if I can talk on it. But it's definitely going to be life changing. You get what I mean? And it's just to do that is I have to leave for like 3.5 weeks. You know what I mean?
wow,
I just like I told you, I went to Indonesia for 2 weeks a few months back,
Yeah.
and then Bad Bunny, he just flew me to Puerto Rico a few weeks back. I was gone for 2 weeks.
to do what with Bad Bunny?
He owns a basketball team in Puerto Rico, and him and his manager Noah hit me up and was like, "Hey man, we know you're the best in the business. We need you to train our team to get ready for the season." So I was like, I mean, yeah, I'll come train you guys. So I lived in
Wow.
Puerto Rico. They want me to come back again, but it's just the way my schedule is. But it's just I'm gone for such long spurts.
You really are.
Yeah.
I mean, like you're on. So. Has anyone ever tried to sign you exclusively? Like one team try to sign you exclusively, or
Yeah,
one person? Like Michael Jordan had his one guy. Like, did anybody ever try to do that with you?
Well, I wouldn't say Michael Jordan had his one guy. He did allow his trainer to train multiple people. So I can train multiple people, but yes, NBA teams have reached out for the last 5 years to have me as their main shooting coach. But the one thing that I've learned, all due respect to these NBA teams, if I take a job with the team, I won't even be here right now to do this podcast. I won't even be able next week and 2 weeks to go to Japan. I won't be able to go to Greece. I won't be able to go to all these different places. So I feel like at first I was real hungry in that. I want to be an NBA shooting coach. And then I realized, God had a bigger plan. Not saying the NBA shooting coaches.
I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah,
though,
don't have big plans, but it's just it would hold me back. You know what I mean? So, but for sure, 100%. I think in a few years after everything's settled, I've done what I've done. I think I will take a shooting coach position with an NBA team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But not
I want
now.
to win a ring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But right now, you're too busy building your own brand.
I'm trying to
and
build a
there's-
brand.
And
Yep.
there's too many opportunities.
Right.
So did you make a conscious effort to be like, you know what, I am not going to be, no matter how lucrative it can be for one, like no matter who offers me a deal, even if LeBron says, be my guy, I'll pay you this amount of money. It's just, did you make a conscious effort to say, no, I'm not going to be exclusive, because that would close the opportunities and the doors for all these other things that can happen for me?
Yeah, and that's happened this year with multiple teams, because like you said, it's like, okay, you're spreading yourself a little thin. You're training them, and we got to play them. How about we just pay you this so you can just train? But I think that's not fair. You know what I mean? I feel like, why can't I do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you don't want me to train your players anymore because of that, I'm not going to be able to train them. You know what I mean? Because that means it's not about being greedy, but it's just like that. I'm a private contractor. You know what I mean? But you're not wrong. If somebody came to me, which teams and players have done, with a proposition where it's like, look, bro, this is what we'll give you. We don't want you training ops, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, like that then now, and I'm not spreading my gift the way I think it needs to be spread, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is exciting. I'm very happy that this has all worked out for you. You seem like a really nice guy. I think like I've asked you everything. I mean, is there anything, I mean, like I said, you promised me those Jordan shoes, Chris. Yeah. I'm going to hold you to that.
No, I'm not going to forget.
I know I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you.
I'm not going to forget.
But no, thank you. I think this is great. And like I said, like, thanks for coming on and sharing your thing with me. And I think people are going to find this super interesting, especially anybody who's interested in basketball.
Absolutely.
And that's it. I think where do people find you if they don't know who you are?
Yeah, you can Google me, of course, Chris Matthews plus Lethal Shooter. You can find me on Instagram at Lethal Shooter. I have Twitter and YouTube as well.
You're not on TikTok yet?
I have TikTok. I go viral. I have videos that have like 40 million views.
Oh, that's it?
So yeah, so
you're such a loser.
Yeah. So you can find me on TikTok and all the platforms. So, and I appreciate you for having me on here to tell my story, and look forward to definitely seeing this come out for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's got some great content, you guys. Yeah. Even if you're not even a basketball fan, it's just like so unique, so creative. It's great. I watch. It's like a rabbit hole, though. Like, you start with one. It's like an hour later. I'm like down that rabbit hole. But thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.